atmosphere like down here in North Dakota?
It's something different.
Snaps, fakes it, looks to his left, throws it. 24, wide open, downfield, nothing but net. It's a touchdown for the North DeSoto Griffin.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Griffin Plus podcast. We appreciate y'all watching every week. I got Coach Dennis Dunn here. Coach Dunn, you want to start off by giving us a little recap of homecoming week and the game?
Well, to be honest, as we were out there Friday night, I did not feel like we played very well. It didn't feel like we played very hard, but after having looked at the film, I was wrong. That's why a game kind of situational things can be frustrating at times because you feel level. It's hard to see, but when, the old saying, the big eye doesn't lie. But when we were able to watch the film, I really thought our guys gave really good effort. The frustrating thing was their game plan, and their game plan is why they're good coaches. They came in to milk the clock, snap it at the last second, to limit our possessions and to keep our offense off the field. With that being said, they put together some extended drives. We only had one possession in the first quarter, I think.
I think you're right.
Scored on that possession, so it's only 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. Our defense, it was frustrating for them because they prepared all week for a thrower, and come to find out we get to the game, he doesn't play, and they've got an athlete at quarterback, and they're lining up in 20 and 21 personnel and running the football, and you get an athlete in space like him. He was hard to tackle. So it was just a frustrating night. Defensively, it was hard to get off the field on fourth down. I think Coach James said we had them in 9 fourth down situations and only got off the field half the time. So they extended drives by going for it on fourth down. So that made for a frustrating evening at times defensively. But I thought our guys, after watching the film, played hard. But kudos to Coach Cooper and his staff for doing everything they could to put themselves in a position to try to win the football game. And, hey, at halftime it's 22-16. We're in another war with them just like last year. But I thought our guys second half really responded. And anytime you can win a game 44-16 against an undefeated team, which they were coming in 4-0, we'll take that.
Right, absolutely. Do you feel we talked about unsung heroes last week, and then we talked to Coach Parker already, but Coach Parker talked about Brady Floyd up front. Do you have anybody you think would be an unsung hero?
Man, I could talk all day about guys like Brady Floyd. I mean, what a testimony to hard work and never giving up, because really, and I've told Brady this and told the whole team this, I mean, if you'd have told me Brady Floyd was going to be a starter on this offensive line, which may be the very best offensive line we've ever had at North DeSoto, if you'd have told me that even a year ago, I would have said, no way. But credit Brady for his never say die attitude. He just has transformed his body, changed the way he ate, and worked his tail off in the off season, and he's just become a very good offensive tackle. Grant Murray is the same way. An unsung hero, a 2-year starter at center. When he was a freshman and sophomore, if you would have told me that Grant Murray would have ever played at North DeSoto, I would have said, going to be a stretch. But he's a 2-year starter.
Coach, yeah, he's a leader up front.
Makes all of our calls up front, makes all of the front calls. I mean, that's the kind of kids we have at North DeSoto, just blue-collar guys who come to work every day, who believe in the team over themselves, accept their roles, play their role to the very best of their ability. And, man, I just it almost makes me want to cry because you think of a guy like Peytonville. Peytonville's not a starter, probably will never be a starter, a senior, but in our team's eyes, the guy is a dog. I mean, He was one of the MVPs in the offseason, worked his tail off, and he always is a guy who's at every practice, knows exactly what to do, and is always taking somebody under his wing, a younger guy or a more inexperienced guy, and teaching them the plays to go play on Friday night. Just can't say enough about guys like that who make up the crux of who we are as a North Dakota football team.
And I don't want to leave this moment, but I do want to talk about going back and watching the game, Coach. I didn't realize how many times we threw a hitch or we threw that fast screen when we stacked the receivers. Like the grittiness of those guys. Again, there's 6 of them that are playing receiver right now, and they're just, almost interchangeable. Christian Ashworth, just gritty guys. Like I feel like we don't say a lot about them. They're not showed up on the box score, but those dudes are balling out.
Yeah, I mean, you got 6 guys who can play at any point. When you talk about Kai and Ashworth at slot, and you talk about Braylon Moore, who's just getting better and better every week. His upside is tremendous. E.J. Taylor, who just works his tail off, and then you throw in Colton LaCour and Timmy out there at wideout. I mean, those guys, they're unselfish, and they're each other's biggest fans. And just so proud of those guys and how hard they work. But also Luke Delafield being the general out there, 4-year starter, taking those RPO throws with the off coverage and taking some pressure off the run game at time. And he picks and chooses when to do that. And I thought he was a tremendous manager of the game last week as well.
So you talked about just the kind of the we over me culture that is here with these guys. It's engraved in these guys. The coolest moment of the game to me, which I am the running backs coach, but we call him Pee Wee. Kerry Hunter gets in 1 or 2 plays and he houses it. Nobody touches him. And I run out on the field because I'm fired up. I can't even get to him, Coach, because of all the players. They are so fired up. Everybody's chanting Pee Wee. I don't know if surely everybody saw that from the stands, but like that just goes to show like our guys, I mean, they just love one another.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Pee Wee's a guy that's been in the program for some time, undersized guy, never misses a workout, works his tail off, comes to practice every day, works his tail off, always has a smile on his face. And for him to get an opportunity like the other night, score 2 touchdowns, his first – was that his first? I'm not sure.
He's had 1 varsity, but that felt like it was the most meaningful one right there.
Yeah,
Latin gets hurt. We got to have somebody. The game's not out of reach. It's not over by any means.
Yes. Two meaningful touchdown plays, and the sideline goes nuts because they see Kerry every day pouring his heart and soul into this thing, and man got his opportunity and just responded, and that's unscripted. That's something that you look back on in years and you say, wow, what a moment, and that's why we coach, I think, because of moments like that.
Absolutely. So this week, Coach, we got fall break. We talked about it with the other coordinators already, but homecoming week has its own challenges. Fall break honestly has some challenges.
Can I be honest? I hate homecoming.
Coach, yeah, it's tough.
I mean, the flower game is what I call it. So many distractions, so frustrating, and this week was no different. It was so anyway, I'm glad homecoming's over. I like the fall break because our guys are committed. They're going to be here. They know what time we work. It gives them a little time to break away from the school atmosphere, having to go to class and then be at practice and all the focus that you have to have in practice. So just having a football week really is something I love. So you go from one, extreme of distractions galore to now it's just football and they can rest some during the week. So I really like fall break and football practice. I don't know what the other coaches have said, but really for me it's a breath of fresh air to give these guys some time to themselves away from the game, and that's the way we approach the week.
Yeah, they both basically said the same thing, where it's a challenge of their discipline. Are you going to go home and take care of your bodies? Or are you going to show up on time, which, almost 99% of our guys do?
Yeah, our guys understand. I mean, this week and then Thanksgiving week is always a given. That's our goal. If you're not practicing in Thanksgiving, then it's been a disappointing year. So this week and Thanksgiving week are two that we look forward to, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Coach, last question, really. Got Minden this week. They've been a tough opponent for years. We're going to Minden. That has its own challenges. Grass field in what they call the pit, I think. If you want to speak on Minden a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Minden game is one that, North Dakota and Minden is, in many ways, has been kind of like Northwood, North Dakota, kind of a rivalry game. And Coach Hurd, his staff have always done a good job and been well prepared. And this week will be no different. They're hungry for a win. They've had a couple of disappointing losses. Scored a lot of points last week against Loyola, so they're getting better. Especially on the offensive side of the ball, moving the football. They're playing two quarterbacks now, and playing a guy that's a really good athlete, can use his feet. And we saw last week what a guy that has really good feet and can move in the pocket can do to a defense. I mean, that gives us some concern. Who will they play at quarterback? And Minden always has great players. They're always big up front. Always have some skill guys that can hurt you. So this will be a game that we will have to come in extremely focused and prepared and ready to play, just like we've been, all 5 weeks so far.
Right. Scored 41, 42 last week.
48.
Versus Loyola. 48. Yeah. Okay. Wow. 48 points.
Our highest output of the year. So I don't know how many they scored against Mansfield in game one, but they've had some real disappointing loss. We're way ahead of Mansfield week one. Mansfield comes back miraculously after having been, 28 points down, maybe 35 points down, and won the game in just dramatic fashion. But they've played some really close games, lost a heartbreaker to North Webster. But, the other night I thought they played really well, especially offensively against a heck of a Loyola team. So we know we're going to get Minden's best shot. And, I think being the team that we are right now, there's a target on our back with everybody we play. Everybody's circled this game, and I think our guys relish that, the opportunity to go in and take everybody's best shot. And so far, I like the way we've responded each week.
Yeah. Last thing, I think we had a pretty dang good practice today. The intensity was good.
Yeah, I thought the work today was good. I thought it was going to be a little bit cooler. Dang, it still feels like August summer heat. The humidity was up, but I thought the kids really had a lot of energy today and focus, and I like our team. I like where we're at right now. I like the leadership and everything that our leaders are doing to stay on mission and focus week in and week out on the opponent that's in front of them.
Coach, that's all I got. I do want to warn everybody. We talked about it last week on the podcast that Coach James is a different person on Mondays and Tuesdays. He is not our friend. He is defensive coordinator Josh James, and you get to see that today on the podcast a little bit between him and Coach Parker. So, we appreciate y'all listening. Enjoy it. All right, Coach Parker, back again. Coach, can you start with just giving us a recap of the game, just offensively versus BTW?
Yeah, I think we kind of knew going in they were going to be 3-3 stack, and they walked a couple more people down in the box than we thought they would. And Luke did a really good job of taking RPO stuff and throwing some quick game and stuff like that to try to, loosen the box up a little bit so that some of our runs would hit pretty big, and they did. I thought we executed really good up front again. We talked about, after Northwood and West Monroe, how the O-line basically carried us on our back to win those games. And, you always kind of worry a little bit about after two emotional wins like that, having a little bit of a letdown spot or something. And they didn't. I mean, I think they handled their business. They missed very few assignments. I think they only missed like 2 assignments from the whole night. So very proud of them. And I'm very proud of our, quarterback and receivers of just taking what they were giving us at times, throwing some of those fast screens and quick game and stuff to try to, loosen some of those outside linebackers up so we could hit some big plays in the run game.
Coach, 100% agree. Who do you think, somebody's not in the box score, I asked this last week, unsung hero. Last week, I think Coach Dunn talked about Zaire, which I completely agree. Who do you think it was this week?
I'd probably say, we said Nate Dubrock last week as well, and he played phenomenal again at right tackle. But really, watching film, Brady Floyd, our left tackle, and we talked about him a little bit last week. But we ran the ball the week before quite a bit to one side over there behind Dubrock, and we knew going in we were going to have to be able to do it the other way. And Brady Floyd did a really good job of taking care of that other side. And another offensive lineman that I think played really well was Chance Walker. I think he just keeps getting better. He started as a sophomore last year, so he's got a lot of snaps under his belt. But I thought he did a really good job. They had a really big nose, and we knew that we were going to have to play with really good technique to get moving on him. And he did that. He did a really good job helping Grant out, being the center with a guy that's probably 3 times his size. We needed those guards to help him out some, and Chance did a really good job, and Guillory did a really good job at the other guard. So, I mean, again, I know we talk about him a lot, but, in a game where you're playing against an 8-man box and you run for 240 yards, I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory that the O-line is another good one. Yeah.
So the game went from possibly being 30-6 or whatever, 29-6 to 22-16 at half. What did you tell the guys when you came in here? It's 22-16. So yeah, right. What did you say at halftime?
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing we talked about at West Monroe. It was just don't panic, and the West Monroe one was a lot tougher situation than that. Yeah. They had taken the lead. We were up 17-0, and then we walk into the locker room, and we had been stopped a couple of times, and it was 28-17. So it's nothing they've not seen before, especially, our receiver room's a little more inexperienced and hadn't played a bunch of snaps, but at running back, quarterback, tight end, O-line, we have a lot of experience up there. So it's pretty easy, to tell them, look, there's no reason to panic. Everything we've done has been good. We missed a couple of assignments. Just go out there and keep doing what you're doing. And don't let we had a mistake. We had a fumble on the goal line right before halftime. Don't let that affect what happened. We had a lot of success before that. So let's go back out there and do exactly what we did, and let's go punch it in this drive and get it back to 2 possessions. And
yeah, it's good. It's good to have some adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you could call back on that West Monroe game and say, we've been here before. Because honestly, as a coach, it felt like we were losing at halftime.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
it felt like a gut punch. But so I kind of credit that. I think we already said that yesterday. I credit it to homecoming week. I mean, we say these things to the kids like, "Hey, don't get distracted. Don't do anything stupid during the week." Yada yada yada. And we're not saying it out of repetition. Like, you want to speak on that a little bit? Like, it's a long week. It's a lot going on.
I mean, it's you said it last week before we got to really the middle of homecoming week, but it's just there's something every night. They got powder puff one night. They got sweetheart stuff one night. They're all escorting girls on the court and planning for the dance even. The moms, that's more of a mom's thing, but they're bothering them about making sure they got their tux or whatever. So it's just a lot of stuff going on that's out of the ordinary. And anytime you take high school kids out of their routine, it's, something you got to overcome. And I thought for the most part we had really good practices. I think, Thursday we talked after practice and it wasn't our best. But for the rest of the week, I thought we had 3 really, really good practices leading up to that. So I think they were focused, and I think we executed well, like I said, on Friday night as well. But, we had a mistake right there before halftime, the fumble on the goal line. And anytime that happens, it could be a big momentum swing. And, again, you got to give BTW credit. I mean, they came in with a really good game plan to hold on to the ball for as long as they could, run. It felt like they were snapping the ball with -1 on the play clock sometimes. Yeah. And anytime you have that as well, I'm glad we got to experience that, because that's what we're going to run into that again somewhere down the road where we may not get the ball, right at the beginning of the game. It may be with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and you've got to just take advantage of your chances. And that's what I think we did.
It was definitely a test of patience and discipline for sure on the sideline. So this week we have Minden at Minden on fall break. So we go from homecoming week, where it's hard to keep them focused and they're not in their schedule, to fall break, where we're not in our schedule. Blessed with fall break. Please don't take it away to Soda Parish, but it still is difficult as a coach to keep them, disciplined, showing up, this and that. You want to speak on that and then speak on what Minden defensively looks like?
Well, talking about fall break, we talked about it in our coaches meeting last night. I think it's kind of at a good time. I mean, we have been through 5 just absolute wars and battles. I mean, you're talking about a 1-possession game at halftime the other night, and obviously the first 4, we all know how big of battles those were. And I think, letting the kids get away from school for a little while, letting them reset their mind and just be able to focus on the, 2.5, 3 hours that we have them up here every day, just focus on football. I think it's really good for them, and I think it'll help us play better on Friday. Minden defensively, they don't bring a lot of people back, but I feel like they may be better on defense overall, even with, I think they're only bringing back 3 starters from last year. But I think those guys that they replace, those other 8 guys, 9 guys that they replaced are really, really good. And we've known that for a long time, watching their junior high play out here, playing them in JV, that they had some classes coming up that could be pretty good.
Right.
And I think, number 38's a returner. He's pretty good. Number 11, he was number 57 last year. He's a big body that they play at defensive end. He's really hard to kick out, in our offensive scheme. So it's going to be a challenge, just like
Minden's a tough place to play.
It always is. That's one place that we do not enjoy going to play, for sure. We always talk about anytime you're at the pit, it's going to be tough. So it'll be fun. It'll be a good atmosphere. It'll be. I mean, we've had some wars with Minden in the past. They've been in our district since I've been here, so we've had some absolute battles with them, and probably we're probably 500 against them in the last 10 years. Like, they used to beat us, and we've been on a little run lately. But it's a good rivalry. Not as
Right.
heated as Northwood probably, or some of the other schools in the area, but it's a good rivalry, and we have a lot of respect for their staff and think that they do a really, really good job on defense as far as technique and scheme and stuff. So. Should be good. Should be a good challenge.
Coach, I'm looking forward to it. Next, we're going to have on Coach James after he just stopped us on 4th and 2, so he is for sure going to be fired up. We just got done with practice. He called a great play and stopped us for, we'll say a no gain.
Yeah, and you really, we got to get Coach Odom on at some point, because
Yes.
I'd like to ask him some questions about the refereeing that goes on in practice.
Yes.
It's really flipped. I felt like we used to get a lot of the calls, and now I guess he's really, worried about Coach James getting mad at him or something.
Yeah.
So we got to get him on.
I cannot wait to bring it up.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
All right. Coach James, welcome on.
Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, he just had a big 4th and 2 stop at practice. If you want to talk about that for any reason, you can go ahead. The floor is yours.
I would love to talk about that.
Go ahead, man.
One, we started off team a little slow, gave up maybe a touchdown.
Or 2.
Maybe 2. Maybe in the same drive. Inadvertent whistle kind of helped us out.
Yeah.
But come up with the stop, and then, we were really focused on our outside guys not running up the field, and Bryce Evans just said, you know what? It's 4th and 2. I'm going to be a heat-seeking missile down this line, and absolutely depleted the running back for a huge stop. And, for how slow you started, it's awesome to finish up like that. So in my book, it's a win.
And no shot he left early.
No, there was 0 chance he left early.
No shot. Can't wait to watch. All right, Coach. That's great. It's enough talk about that. Good practice. And this is Coach Monday, Josh James, by the way.
Oh, nice, calm, cool, collected.
Okay, yeah.
I'm fall break Monday, Coach James.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute. So me and Coach Parker talked about it. Last week, homecoming week, hard to get the guys focused. We talked about something every night. This week's fall break. We talked about it being a positive last night. Do you feel that it's more of a positive than a negative, getting the rest and not being in your routine and getting to...
Yeah, we're going to find out how mature our kids are. We broke it down this morning. We got done about 11:15. They're going to have all day to do whatever they want, and as they should. They need to take care of their bodies, rest, get to hang around, be high school teenagers for a while. But the real maturity comes in. Are they going to go to bed at even 10 o'clock, or are they going to stay up till 3 a.m. because they don't have school in the morning? So I think it's more of a positive because you get out of school for a week, you get the rest mentally. But we're going to find out how mature if we go to bed on time, if we're doing, the little things right in our everyday lives.
That's a good point. Let's talk a little bit about BTW. We talked about it yesterday, like an odd game. It's homecoming week. It's after all these emotional high games, right? And then they snap it with 1 second on the clock. Like, that's kind of frustrating, I know, for you guys on your side. So if you want to speak on that just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, what a great game plan they had. Going into it, we thought we were going to see one guy at quarterback, and I really felt comfortable in the game plan going into that. We knew they liked to air the ball out, and when they showed up, it was the complete opposite thing. And what took us so long to adjust is all week we were working these ends and tackles, getting a very good pass rush to create some vertical lanes for that quarterback to step up in. Well, now we went and did that to one of the best athletes in Shreveport Bossier. Yeah. And now whenever he steps up, you don't have just one vertical lane, you have 4 of them. And he just picked one of them, and we struggled to tackle him in the open field early. I think the adjustment at halftime was to move down to a 4 down front that we kind of started to do midway through the second quarter, and just tell him, do not rush this guy. Like, if you rush, he's going to make somebody look silly. So we tried to contain him the best we could. Didn't always work. But, whenever you have, I think it was 10 4th downs, we got the field on 4 of them, and they converted 5, and then one of them was a penalty. So we got to do better in the little things, tackling an open field, being able to adjust the game plan whenever things like that happen. I think it took us, that's coaching, took us a little too long to adjust to that.
Yeah, I'll say one thing that you do a good job of, and Coach Parker does a good job of. The final score is 44-16, and to some folks, you're like, oh, that's a good win. That's a good win. But like picking it apart like you just did, and finding the the adversity, and being like, hey, there's something we could have done better. This and that. Like, you are, it's not just. I think too often people are like, oh, you're just going to blow that team out. That's right. Just not the case.
And I think we said it in Sunday meetings. That's not the same BTW that
Correct.
was there 5 or 6 years ago. I know they beat us for homecoming, but 3-4 years ago, we knew that we could roll in there, and that's just what should happen. But they're very well coached. They have some of the best athletes in the state on that team.
Right.
I mean, a lot of basketball players are out there playing for Coach Cooper, and they're good football players. I'd love to take any one of them. But, I think that you could walk away and say that, 44-16 is good enough. But there's a saying, I can't tell you who said it. I thought it was Saban quoting somebody else, but you coach for perfection, knowing that you're never going to get there. Like, it's impossible to be perfect. We all know that. But you coach for that perfection. You strive for it just to catch a glimpse of excellence.
Correct.
If you're never striving, I'm never going to not strive for perfection, because then what is there to work for, So
right.
I always kind of tell the kids that quote every now and then, that you're getting coached hard. Yeah, we're going to slap you on the butt when you're doing a good job, but we got to fix the errors, because we still need a long way to go. We are so far off where we need to be a state championship defense.
Right. Love that. Coach, you want to speak on, you talked about your D-line already. Your player of the game is Andrew Orander.
Yeah, Andrew Orander, again, missing about 2 or 3 starters in some very key spots for us on the defense side of the ball. I'm hoping that we get, fully healthy this week or even the next week. But that's the first real start that he's had, the first real game that he's played. And during our production points, we showed him that, man, he had so much production as far as tackles, pressures, all that stuff, but he got dinged so many times on either he wasn't spilling the ball or he wasn't boxing the ball, he wasn't containing the quarterback. He could have really had a really productive night, but I was proud of his effort. He's one of those guys that will step in, and you never, ever have to question his effort. And to me, it was just player of the game, got thrown into a big role for us, moved the defensive end that's usually there to outside linebacker like happened last week. And I thought he stepped up in a huge way, made some big plays in that second half when we needed them.
Absolutely, I agree. So we talked about BTW having I'd say a good running quarterback, but previously did not on film. This week, you play Minden, who almost has the same thing, right?
Yeah, I think, you got 2 quarterbacks in Minden. One is a 3-year starter, or going on to his 3rd year. He's one of the coach's sons. He's very smart, knows ball. He's a great athlete. He's a 3-sport athlete. I think he's more of the pocket presence, game manager. I think he still runs the ball very well. But I think he knows what his role is. He knows that he's supposed to get the ball to these certain amount of people. And then when they bring in number 17, I'm not sure his name, but he is a freak athlete. He's playing so many different positions, playing some slot, outside quarterback. Whenever he's in the game, he's there to take over. So we need to be very disciplined. You talk about, it's not backyard football because they're a very well-coached team, but when you get an athlete like that can make it into backyard football. Like, hey, I'm supposed to hit this gap, but this gap's covered up. I'm just going to go back two gaps and cut it back there.
Right.
That's when it makes things really difficult. We got to be really sound while he's in the game, and we got to tackle well in open field. That's the big emphasis this week in our endo and in our tackling drills is can we tackle in open field?
Coach, how are you adjusting? You didn't have a defensive touchdown this week, did you? Gosh.
Yeah, I didn't sleep well.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm probably have to start a counseling session whenever
Hayden
that.
Bell didn't score a touchdown. We'll find a way to get him in the end zone.
Yeah, and really, I mean, I don't really think we had a ton of turnovers either.
No?
I think we had one fumble recovery,
Right.
one forced fumble, and I mean, kudos to them for taking care of the ball. And again, when you do that and you snap the ball at 1 second, that's tough. But again, we got to do a better job of getting off the field and giving the ball in our offense hands or scoring it ourselves.
Right, yeah, just take it over yourself.
Yeah, that's usually the plan.
All right, Coach James, good luck tomorrow at practice. Hope you don't cheat or anything. We're going to talk to Coach Odom about offsides and stuff like that. We're going to stop yelling our play calls across the field so that you can.
I will say this: we call the play well before them, and then two.
All right, guys, we appreciate it.
There are no refs out there. You can hold PI, make them call it, and I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah,
It's
hey,
been a pleasure.
and this has been awesome. This
you.
has been a
Thank
great
you.
time, Bubba.
It's been a great
okay,
time.
and guys, don't forget
Defense
like,
wins 1-0.
subscribe.
We plan to go 2-0.
Like, subscribe. Offense is
Like
going to
and
win
subscribe
tomorrow.
if you want defense to win tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Like and subscribe.
Looks for number 7. Beautiful pass. He was triple covered.
What's that atmosphere like down here in North Dakota?
It's something different.
Snaps. Fakes it. Looks to his left. Throws it. 24. Wide open. Downfield. Nothing but net. It's a touchdown for the North DeSoto Griffin.